It really is very simple. I'm not saying it to be condescending. The reason it's not simple is because it is swimming upstream against a lot of very strongly embedded wrong understanding that you've had for years and years. It's been weaponized by people. This idea of forgiveness, it's been weaponized. You know, people will look at you like, well, you're just have an unforgiving spirit, or you're just not forgiving me. It becomes a weapon that people use against you because they don't understand what they're talking about, unfortunately. It may mean that to resolve the damage, an apology, a genuine one, is necessary, showing a regret and remorse for what happened. There may be assurances and promises that this thing will never happen again. There may be a need of a time period to demonstrate that it is safe and it won't happen again. There's lots of things that may be part of your need to make resolution possible, and that's something that you personally have to your own personal preferences and your input into. And the other person in a negotiation sort of style will agree or not agree, as they will also have their things that they may need from you. But remember, the forgiveness has nothing to do with any of that, although it's step one. This is Yeshua forgiving people who are doing the most horrible things, and he used a phrase that you should be able to use for anything that was ever done to you by anybody. Father, forgive them. They don't, because you may think, oh, but this was so horrible, more horrible than these people that scourged Yeshua and impaled him and crucified him. That didn't happen to you. Oh, but I was molested, I was raped, I was this, I was that, but you're still here. You weren't killed. You weren't done, and it wasn't done to you in a public way, like up on a cross in front of everybody as the most public of shaming things could be. And Yeshua turned to those people and said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. A lot of people have the problem with the first step, which is let them know. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people who have a problem with a friend or a family member or a husband or a wife, and I'm like, well, have you told them? No. So they keep trespassing, you haven't said anything. Yeah? You missed a step. So if your brother comes to you, or your husband, or your wife, or your kid, or whoever it is, and expresses ownership and genuine regret and remorse, and says, look, I really wish I hadn't done it, and if I could, I'd go back and undo it, but I can't. And if there's something that was actually physically broken, I can replace it, I can fix it, or whatever it is that they can do, then you should make every effort to restore that part of it, to make restitution for something that maybe was damaged, because sometimes you can, okay? And then you have to express a desire to never do it again. I will make every effort, I promise you, I'm committing. We do this when we get on our face before our Father, don't we? I'm going to make every effort not to do that anymore. 5 minutes later, you're back on your face. You know this in your own life. You can have a little pain in your mouth, and it's maybe a tiny little cavity happening in a tooth, and you want to ignore it because you don't want to deal with it, and it's just a little thing, but if you don't address it, the little thing all of a sudden turns into a root canal or some other problem. But it was little to begin with. You could have dealt with it when it was little. Or you have a little cut or a little something, you just didn't address it, next thing you know it gets infected, and it starts to become a real big problem. I mean, these things can happen. We should address things while they're small, address them on a timely manner, but you need to address it immediately first and do the forgiveness process. You have to let go. Don't go to your brother until you've done that, because it won't go well. Don't get defensive. Oh, that's the first thing we all do. Oh, blah, blah. And the best way we do it is, not only do we get all defensive, we turn around and go, well, what about you? You've done this to me and I never said nothing. Oh. Goodness, that's just not going to work. Don't be all proud of yourself because somebody did something, you didn't say anything. If you didn't say anything, then never say anything. How's that? If you're going to say something, say it right away. After you've let go of the negative emotions. Let go of the emotions, then say something. If you chose not to say something, it's not waiting for a weapon to be used later. To throw in someone's face and say, oh, well, you did all that and I didn't say anything. So in your life, he can remove the consequences by telling you whatever's been holding you back, whatever's been basically making you a paralytic in your life, I'm not even talking about physically, he can forgive the consequences of sin so that you are no longer paralyzed in your life. So you can rise and walk. Amen? Hey, listen to what I just said. Receive that. Some of you are paralyzed in your lives. It doesn't mean if you don't forgive others, he's going to stay angry at you and he's going to hold on to negative emotions towards you. He's just not going to forgive the things that you need forgiven to move forward in life. You come to him and say, Father, forgive me. And he's like, well, why? You won't forgive others. Why do I need to forgive you? See, now we're talking about a repentance relationship conversation you're having with the Father. He's saying in your prayer, you say, forgive us our trespasses. And he says, not happening if you don't forgive others. Why ask me for something you're not willing to do? That's my job. And that's what I do when I come up and say, please pay attention. This is what he's trying to get you to understand so that you can do it. And if you do it, you'll have everything you've ever wanted. But you have to receive the information and then develop a relationship with the information and with the one who the information is based on, which is your Creator and your Messiah. Amen?